did not expect this outcome.
Hello everyone, Evasion here, and welcome back to another video. Today's video, I wanted to make a quick, not so secret guide to secret technique. This ability is actually disgusting at the moment, and I kind of noticed this when I was leveling up, that it was hitting way harder than Eviscerate. It's actually normal for it to do so. It has literally since it's existed. It's just that usually since it does like all physical damage, people have more relevant armor or something like that, and it doesn't end up working. It doesn't usually matter that you take the talent. And it previously shared a row, I think, with something else that was more useful. This ability, yeah, it's definitely getting nerfed on Tuesday. So by the time you see this video, it'll probably already be nerfed. It's getting nerfed by 30% in PvP. And my thoughts on it is that it's probably still going to be useful because right now you can pretty much outright solo people. So I've seen a few builds being used for this. I just wanted to share the build I'm using for this. I tried to incorporate as much of the other build as I could because Invigorating Shadow Dust is really powerful. I've seen some people not running this. I've seen people running Dark Brew, which actually gives you pretty crazy sustain damage with Rupture between goes, but usually you're not out there training people while you're waiting for stun DRs. Finality doesn't really matter that much since you're one-shotting people with Secret Technique. And even if you were to use a single Eviscerate after or before you use Secret Technique, you're not even going to be hitting the Finality one. Now, obviously, you could have Finality set up before you go on somebody. And I'm only playing 6-second dance with this build too, which if you like having longer dance, there is a way to move the talent points around for this. But I have this talent point here. I've been playing a lot of Mage Rogue with this. And Mage Rogue should be better after Tuesday as mages are getting buffed, so they should be compensating for the damage that Rogue won't be doing. But yeah, I was taking this Cloaked in Shadows talent because it's really, really good when you're playing double DPS and it's not nerfed. But if you're playing with a healer or you're playing threes, you can actually drop this talent and you can take Flagellation. You can set up more with Mastery. If you open on somebody, use Flagellation as like a fake go. Set up some combo points behind it and get your Mastery buff, and then do a hard swap and go for a Secret Technique on somebody. Through utilizing this method, even after the 30% nerf, you can probably make it hit pre-nerf numbers with this active because you can gain like 50% mastery. But usually you can, so if you want to play the Rotten still, you still could do this. It's kind of unnecessary because I didn't have the Rotten in my current build. I have First Dance, so basically when I do Cheap Shot, Dance, Shadow Strike with like symbols and everything to set up, it pretty much fills my combo points all the way to 7 combo points. Another thing that other players have been doing is utilizing Kyrian instead of the actual 7 combo point strategy with Secret Stratagem and Deeper Stratagem. However, I kind of just like having the 7 combo points all the time instead of relying on Kyrian. If you're using Kyrian to set this up, it's more obvious, but if you just open with like your cooldowns and use Cheap Shot Shadow Strike, it's more of a surprise, I think, to people. They don't know what to expect. Sometimes people will react to Kyrian and yeah, I don't know. But it is good because you can kind of like launch off that Secret Technique at a lower combo point value and still have it act as a 7 point. But this is just the way I've been doing it. It hits really hard. I'll definitely have some clips here on screen to show you how hard it's hitting. And I'm sure you've probably seen other rogues play this at this point. But in most of these games, I've probably dropped the Rotten and Flagellation, and I've just been playing Cloaked in Shadow for survivability. Yeah. Alright, I wanted to run this one back. This is a decent swap onto the healer. I'm starting in stealth from this one. I just vanished, and I'm going to get a kick onto the Frost Mage here just to stop some damage for this go. And I use a Shadow Strike just to fill my combo points, so I'm able to start with Kidney Shot in this particular situation. I get a Shadowy Techniques proc, and I use a Dance, Shadow Strike, and I go to full combo points. And then I'm going to press my Symbols of Death, my Flagellation, my Badge, my Cold Blood, and then I'm going to hit Secret Techniques here. And I'm going to follow it up with a Shadow Strike and do a half Cheap Shot, and then use Eviscerate. And yeah, the target goes down. A macro that can be pretty useful to help you use all your buttons for Secret Technique is just /use 13, /cast Symbols of Death, /cast Cold Blood, and /cast Secret Technique, of course. Since Secret Technique's cooldown is lowered by using finishers, you will definitely want to track Cold Blood somewhere else on your action bar, and maybe even have it bound separately, as there will be times when it desyncs if you have, if the target actually doesn't die in the first go. So I recommend this macro. You obviously, if you're using this to press your symbols of death and your use trinket, if you use any like shadow strikes or anything like that before you are going for this, they will obviously be slightly reduced in damage. One advantage of this is you can actually kind of take advantage of the 40 energy granted by Symbols of Death. So yeah, you take a small damage hit on that Shadow Strike, but if you're actually getting use out of the 40 energy of the Symbols of Death, I think that's pretty cool. A lot of the time, people just kind of press it when you dance. They're just using it for the 10% damage increase. But it can kind of help you with overall damage if the target needs to take a little bit more damage if they're not just dying in 6 seconds. Here I use a Vanish to get my kidney shot back, and we just send some damage on the healer. And then, press Dance, Shadow Strike, and the macro, and the target is just completely destroyed. Another thing, too, I want to throw in, since this was a Evoker healer, something you can do against Evoker healer is when they use their Communion defensive ability, where they, take a knee, and they're able to use it while stunned, you can blow your blind to get rid of the ability. Fears, Sheeps, and other CCs can do this, but they can use it while stunned, and stuns will not stop this. Gouge doesn't work on it either. But yeah, you can throw away blind. Like if they're at 5% HP or something, just throw blind through it, get rid of it, and kill them. I think I had some clips of that. I'll try to put those in. If you made it this far in the video, please be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. And yeah, in general, so for this rotation, you just want to put out a stun, whether it's Cheap Shot or Kidney. Then you're going to press Dance, and then you're going to use Shadow Strike, and then press the macro. That I'll also put the macro in the description as well. That's going to net you a lot of kills, and hopefully you have enjoyed this video. And if you did, that's awesome. Also, I've been having a lot of fun with Evoker, so I will probably be uploading some Evoker content as well. Class is omega fun and super underrated. And oh, I got one more clip here. This clip here is a classic. I got the trinket out of the DH, so I was able to blind him. And we were setting up for a kill on the warrior, and I'm like, he's probably still thinking about using the hunt. So now I'm just watching for it, and I cloak it. If you use cloak right when the hunt finishes its cast, the initial start of Cloak of Shadows is magic immunity. So you can use it to immune the hunt. You won't get hit by the dot. You won't take the massive damage hit. Really, really good thing you can do. It takes a little bit of game awareness, but it's really satisfying. It's kind of like vanishing Death Coils in Wrath of the Lich King, or vanishing blinds, or anything that, you kind of have to have a little bit of premeditated thought for. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.